Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, June 4th, 2025, and you are in the Java Cafe this morning. There is definitely a full menu. We have the mayor coming in just a few moments, and then along with the mayor, this is her last appearance before Father's Day, Sunday after next. And so we're going to allow her some time to chat with two programs that focus on fatherhood. One being the Daddy and Me Literacy Program. I just noticed I had project in my graphic. The Daddy and Me Literacy Program. And also Good Dad Gang, founded by Daniel Carrillo. I think I got it right. He'll correct me. Otherwise known as Terminology. A local, not even local, national rapper personality, and has taken his influence and is using it now to promote a Good Dad Gang. And we're excited to have both of them coming into the room. The mayor will join us in just a few minutes. As we know, sometimes, you're the mayor, you run behind, things happen. So she will be with us shortly. For all of you that tuned in to listen to what we have to say, and also to the legacy mainstream media that will rip and quote without putting a hyperlink to Java with Jimmy. But I'm not going to be shady this morning. I see the real Boston media is in the building, so I will behave. But let's go in the Java Cafe while the mayor is on her way and say good morning to folks. Let's start out with Instagram. Daryl Drumright from Nashville is listening. Also, Slim MVG, Mind Well Your Time. Bedlam Show Off. I want to thank Bedlam Show Off for liaising and making sure that the interview with Good Dad Gang and Terminology, aka Daniel, happened. So shout out to them. A huge influence when it comes to media, marketing, the industry, cannabis. Brother just does a whole lot. So thank you. Wood Gang is in the building as well. And good morning again to you, Dr. Drumright. Over on Facebook, Nisi Williams, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Nariki Jordan, good morning, beautiful. Good to see you in the room. Shamika, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room this morning. Sister Debbie, good morning to you. Rev, good morning, Rev. Good to see you in the room this morning. Miss Teresa, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. The Real Boston Media, as I mentioned, is in the building. Thank you so much for the support that you all give over there. They said, Term, man, listen, the Knights at the Middle East, what a legend. Now, I got to admit, anybody that Brother Brandon works with, I know is major and does some great things. But the Real Boston Media hit me up and was like, yo, do you know? Even Brother Newt hit me up and was like, yo, do you know? And I'm old. I didn't know. But we are excited to have both programs come into the room to talk about the great things that they're doing in community. While I'm here, I'm going to just also take the opportunity to mention to you that one of the reasons the Daddy and Me Literacy Program is coming on today is to talk about their family day that's taking place this Saturday at 11 a.m. And our mayor is in. And so we got to do a speed round. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her in, and we'll continue with the Daddy and Me Literacy Program in just a couple of seconds. But let's get ready to bring in our mayor. Mayor, not if you're all set with the tech side. Okay. Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. I can't figure out the Zoom thing here, so you can see me in like the bookshelf. It is what it is.
We know you're educated and what. There you go. Mayor, I do this stuff in real time and you've been a part of glitches and stuff here over the past few years. Mayor, we are in the last few months, as we know, you're a candidate this year. And so some of the balance of the availability that you've made to us in this community platform, now switching into a candidate, what we do to balance that is we do kind of speed rounds with everything that we want to discuss. And so I want to start with one thing, if you don't mind. We usually do this toward the end, but we're in a political season, as I just mentioned, and nationally things are interesting. And locally, I'm looking and I'm seeing some things, Mayor. There was an ad that I kind of noticed a little bit and just closed it that asserts some things that I just don't, from my observation, aren't based on the facts. And so, Mayor, can we just give you a little bit of time to just correct things? And then with that, let's correct them with the work in some spaces. We can't cover everything, but do you have any response to this? You know, I didn't think it was going to be things like attack ads and stuff this early, but any response?
You didn't. You really didn't. So, I mean, I guess I want to say two big things about it, and then get into some of the details of it. One is that this is really unusual. So I think I'm just teasing you now, but we haven't seen anything like this before in a little old mayoral race in Boston. This is more like what happens at the scale of a federal race where millions of dollars are pouring in from the outside. And here, if you go to, at least on every candidate has their own. In Massachusetts, you have to have what's called OCPF account, Office of Campaign and Political Finance. So you can go and look up every single donation that's made directly to a candidate, and then what they spent money on, and who it came from, and all that. So we know from tracking that, and we know from tracking some of the news about the super PAC, which is supposedly separate by law. It has to be separate from a candidate if they're going to take unlimited contributions, right? In OCPF in Massachusetts, we're limited to $1,000 per person per calendar year. A super PAC is unlimited. It's more of a federal structure. And the only rule is that it has to be quote unquote independent, meaning you can't communicate with and you can't be part of or involved in the campaign, because otherwise it would just be a way to have a loophole to, even though it's $1,000 limit, you actually can talk to this other group, and then there's no point to any limit at all. But we found there was news that just came out this week that, in fact, on the my fellow candidate who has millions of dollars of attack ads already, the super PAC and the campaign have the same person doing a website and ads. And although the person says it's technically two companies that I both own, they both work out of the same address and office, but it's different employees of each, and they don't talk to each other. So, there's like technicalities like that happening. But okay, anyway, so one, this is unprecedented for a city race in the amount of money and what the money is doing. And two, what the money's doing is attacking, because generally we have seen that, although I will say every day I'm the first one to be impatient and know that we need to do more and want to do better and faster and fix the things that need to be fixed. Generally, if you see through all the polls and this and that, and what we hear out in communities, that people understand we're working on things and the city's generally moving in the right direction, right? Compared to 3 years ago, we've taken some steps forward on issues, a lot of issues that have been kicked down the can, or the can had been kicked down the road for a long time, and they didn't happen overnight. They won't get fixed overnight, but we have moved down the field on these issues. And so to change that, if you want to take over in this job, you have to basically flip how people understand the situation and say, actually, you don't, what you see or what you feel, what everyone else is feeling is that it's all really bad and it's all broken and it's all, horrible. Attack ads work, and millions of dollars behind attack ads do work. That's why
You've
that's
seen it.
in the federal system all the time. That's why they do it. So, this is a little bit of an experiment for Boston in some ways, right? We are a city that's very proud of being involved, speaking your mind, following what's happening, knowing the details of situations. And that makes it so that my job is really hard sometimes, because everyone's like, we see what you're doing, and we followed every step of it. So I hope that here, actually, it won't be the same effect as in some other places or in some other races where people aren't paying as much attention, and then they're just learning information from these attack ads. Because actually, as you say, a lot of it is, if not at least very, very misleading, just outright false. Like, I saw one ad that said something like, we're the fourth most expensive place to live, or fourth or fifth or something in the world, which is just like, that is not even true. At some point, there was a survey, and we could be very well, our housing costs are, as we all know, out of control, and could have been that in the United States, but not in the world. And traffic has not gotten worse because of things that we've been doing. Traffic has actually gotten better, believe it or not. It's not where we want to be, but
Mayor, if I can jump in, because you one of the things, I'm just going to ask you one question. And then when you say, you've been doing this, let's go into some of the work, and some of the spaces that I want to cover don't necessarily match with some things that were cited in the ad. But one thing that really, when I closed it, was luxury boxes and beer gardens. Is that the motive for White Stadium? Like, Mayor?
Yeah. And don't get me started. Again, I will throw down for our Boston kids. I got some myself. I now have 3 of them. And I just see, knowing the facilities that students from the suburbs are playing in, hearing the stories from our BPS athletes of when they go to games, they see the contrast, the difference in the quality, the reliability, the resources. It's not okay. And we have the talent here. We have the resources here. We just have to focus it on the actual community, and not just here again, we're in a campaign where there's basically a platform of, no bike lanes, no White Stadium, and then let developers do whatever they want to do on housing. Like that is the vision over there, which is why it has to be attack ads also, because there's not really substantive stuff to move forward. White Stadium, I will share in any space, answer any question, because I feel so excited about what this represents for our students. And it's just like our museum program too. We want our kids to be able to have and to own, to know they belong in any space and any opportunity in our city. And so the professional team, they're going to share less than 10% of the field time with us, and they're going to pay for more than half the cost of the stadium to build it. They're going to maintain it every single year afterwards. They're going to pay $500,000 to Franklin Park each year, going up 3% every year with inflation. They're going to $1 per ticket is going to go to the tree fund to invest in trees in Franklin Park, which will be the most investment that the park overall has ever seen. And so this is about our students. This is about our park and the people who love our park, and about the neighbors in the surrounding area who've seen disinvestment and underinvestment for many, many decades.
And Mayor, as we go along, we'll give opportunities again to address things that people are concerned about, like traffic. One of the other concerns was supply diversity through working with the commission and our economic, I forgot the name of the subcommittee, but others that has changed. All right, Mayor, one of the other things I want us to move on a little bit. You talked about, our children and being welcoming. One of the things that our children and our whole community deals with often is violence. We have great numbers. We are one of the safest cities, as I said in the presser. But similar to what you said in other areas in this, I always say not room, but we have a canyon, for improvement. So may I ask you if you could talk a little bit about the summer safety? And Mayor, I'm going to keep it 100 with you here because in this space, and that little brown notebook over the years from the Haley House to your mayor, what happened Wednesday, Thursday? I don't think people realize that for 15, 20 years, we've been asking for this. Sorry, Mayor. So can you give us a quick overview? And I'll be honest, Mayor, the speed round today is real.
Okay, I'll keep it tight.
So give us a little bit. Yep.
So I think just like from then to now, what has changed? One, similarly to I think what I just said, we've known for a long time what needed to happen. We generally as a city have the resources, although dollars are always tight because there's so much to do. And it's been about focus and coordination and making sure people are at the table. So we go person by person in the community of who needs resources, where do we need intervention, where do we need prevention, where do we need supports, where do we need trauma resources. And we have now, under Dr. Isaac Yablo, who is the new director of violence prevention for the city and the Health Commission and leading that team, we now have weekly sessions that are one focused on youth safety, one focused on just strategy, one to review different incidents or things that popped up. And it used to be that resources were there. They lived in different corners. Everyone had their different specialty outside City Hall, inside City Hall, within different departments, Boston Public Health Commission. And then when something horrible happened, everyone would mobilize and do something. And now it's like, we're not waiting for something to happen. Every week, no matter the season, no matter what the numbers tell us, we are there and we stay with families. So that's some of what, the big picture is. The little things, right? We're expanding hours at BCYF on the weekends for young people to have fun, safe places to go. We're getting resources out into the community with different pop-up events and activations. We are streamlining some of the trauma supports and resources available so that community members are leading that work. And we're just hand in hand with the people who know how to do this, which is folks who have been on the ground, who have the relationships. And there's no, more complicated secret formula than just working together, working really hard and working every single day, trying every new thing, and then putting the resources behind the words.
And that is the major thing that, there's five, and my understanding is there's a little bit more than 5 million from the administration with all the departments that you named. And then we got to shout out the Cummings Foundation because they gave an additional million, which, Mayor, we understand it's some semi unrestricted because you can, Dr. Yablo and the administration can do different things with that. Mayor, I always try
to say a second on that. How amazing is it to live in a city where when we're, in a lot of places, the only time you get attention or funding as an organization or government, whatever, is when something goes wrong. When it's like, okay, it's really bad. Let's try to throw what we can at
the actionary.
Exactly. Yep. And here it's like, wow, we've accomplished so much. How can we push you to do more? How can we push you to innovate and just go that extra step?
Mayor, the other thing I just wanted to say in balance in the vein of one of the things that Dr. Yablo talks about is safety in parks. And so Reverend Amani, I know you know Reverend Amani, it's a long comment. And so we might get, we didn't get hidden. And so there just needs to be some follow-up in the space of the Almont playground, a structure.
Okay. This is helpful. Thank you.
I'll make sure we connect in the background.
And so everyone, it touches on, I don't know if we're talking about the triennial later today, but the idea is for the first time, we're doing a citywide public art installation. It's going to happen once every 3 years, local artists about who we are as a city, how we belong. But because it's new, because it's temporary, we got to make sure it's safe too.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was exact one, but Reverend Amani is definitely one of our advocates and activists and also a survivor in the community. So in that space of violence in the parks, I noticed her comment. Mayor, the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is Dr. Yablo now oversees all violence, domestic, gender-based, intimate partner, and whatnot. One of the other things that comes up when we talk about violence a little bit is the impact of mass and caste on families, on the individuals that are dealing with the substance use. And so can you talk a little bit about, I'll be honest, I rolled down the other day and my eyes kind of got big because, as we often state, change of season there is a change there, and it's not as bad as it was a few years ago, but there's more activity. But then the numbers say that the numbers are down. And so can you just give a little update about that? And then we have our two dads programs in the background. We got about 3 more minutes, and I got about 18 other things to try to touch on. But so, Mayor, talk about that report. And also,
I don't know, go ahead.
No, squeeze in, because on the opposite side of that, there's the Live Long Well that the commission is doing as well with Dr. Basola. Yes. And so, Mayor, a lot to squeeze in.
I'll start there, because that's really the new and visionary work that Dr. Basola Ojikutu is leading, is saying, again, in a city like Boston, when we have the resources, we have to focus. And her Live Long and Well health equity agenda is the city's first health equity agenda that really hones in on how we can close those gaps in life expectancy. And it's about tackling the chronic diseases like high blood pressure, diabetes, and violence, and substance use. And so there are some kind of key places on, maternal health and other on all ends of the spectrum, from I hate saying from cradle all the way through, but your whole life. How are we providing the resources and intervening? So substance use is a major piece of why there are so many disparities, because we see who experiences overdoses. It is the same communities, and the disproportionate income on Black men for overdose fatalities is something that our health commission and our city are really focused on. And we saw record declines in overdoses in the recent data, but again, the gaps are there if you look within the numbers. So on Mass and Cass, we have refused to just accept that things have to be how they are. It is a complex problem, and in some ways, the more we do, the more we have to do, because people continue to need services from all over the state and all over the country, and find their way to Boston when we have a reputation for being able to serve and connect people to housing and treatment and all that. So initially, the challenge was encampments and how unsafe it was for everyone, right? Fires, fatalities, violence.
Right. Yep.
And then it was, how do we ensure people are actually moving through the pipeline, right? From getting into that first housing and services spot, to counseling, to holding down a job and having permanent housing. Hundreds of people have now done that. And now the challenge really is outdoor congregate substance use. So when people are gathered together, because they may have housing, they may actually have some of the housing that was created by the city in recent years, but still during the day are feeding an addiction and being preyed on by drug traffickers and dealers. And so we are really targeting that challenge now. BPD has reformed some of their structure so that they're now clear teams rather than 3 different police districts who all have different boundaries and areas. The Boston Public Health Commission is really focused on moving towards 24-hour-a-day services. It used to be staffing was, 9 to 5 or 8 to 3 or whatever the hours were, and not on weekends. And now it's wraparound, again, with some grant funding also that has been supported from community. And we're working with our providers to just ensure that the communication loop is solid. But this is a moving challenge now, because even though the numbers are down, people are more visible. They're not just sort of secluded away on Atkinson Street in a bunch of tents, but out and about in public spaces. And we have citywide teams now that are trying to provide services and make sure everyone is connected to what they need to do, but also that we just can't have large groups of people congregating there waiting for drug dealers to do their thing.
And we've often talked about the law enforcement perspective along with the clinical support of their addiction. So it's something that unfortunately we're going to continue to talk about. Mayor, we had some more things about summer safety, but if everything goes well, you will be here on July 3rd. And so maybe we can talk about that. That's a new budget year. A lot of the changes we talked about. Mayor, one of the stats is when it comes to substance use is the impact on Black men. And that is something that through the Black Men and Boys Commission and other things that this administration has committed to, and not just Black men, but all fathers. We have a day coming up. And if you want to say something special to Connor, you can. But fathers, this is you won't be on again before Father's Day. And I thought it was important just because of my role and some things I'm learning about that's happening to bring 2 folks in One is covering for his son, but to bring folks in that move in the space of fatherhood, Mayor, and both in their own rights are legends. One in maybe a teeny bit longer, and then one most recently. But I'm going to get in trouble with Pops, and also I'm going to be a little bit casual because I want you to just be able to meet them and understand their work. First, we have Pops Abdullah Muhammad. I call him Pops just out of respect. This is Wadi Muhammad's dad. And then, Mayor, we also have now brother Daniel. We can switch back and forth today. He runs the Good Dad Gang. And I don't know if you heard of that, Mayor, but my understanding and the responses and the inboxes and the texts and the messages I got, that this is a major brother that has taken his influence and moved it into promoting fatherhood. And so I want to give all three of you a couple of seconds. We got about 3 minutes to cross over before Mayor Wu's folks get me. And so if both of you, I'll start with Pops Abdullah Muhammad, if you could because it's just out of respect. I'm not calling you.
No. You make me feel old. That's okay. It's okay.
I'm sorry, brother Muhammad. Can you just, say good morning to the mayor and brother Daniel as well, and tell us a little bit about Daddy and Me a little bit, especially with June 7th, and then brother Daniel Term as well. We'll tell a little bit about the program. The mayor, you can respond, and then we'll talk with both the brothers about fatherhood.
Thank you, sir, very much. I'd like to first thank the creator. Thank you, Mayor, for being on with us, and thank you, Daniel. I'd like to first start about Daddy and Me literacy program, which is started by my son, Marzouk, about 4 or 5 years ago. It was founded in 2008. It was a place for fathers and uncles and brothers and grandpas who could pull in to be able to work with our youth in teaching literacy as a joy, not just a burden, not just in school, but to be able to read and enjoy what you're reading and to travel all over the universe to reading. And that's every third Sunday. It's a virtual program now from 11 to 12, which is Daddy Me Literacy Program. But coming up, what you're talking about is Family Fun Day, which is my family, his siblings and his parents put on Family Fun Day once a year at the Martini Hat Shell, which is owned by DCR, part of the governmental structure. We have entertainment, fun games, sports, food, things for families, all generations to come out and have a good day of enjoying. The only thing we're fighting with is the weather. And we're hoping that the weather will bear with us, and we'll be able to have that this Sunday from 11 to 3. I'm sorry, this Saturday from 11 to 3. This Saturday. Now, let me get the dates mixed up. Saturday from 7 to 3 at the Martini Hat Shell up on Truman Highway.
Brother
And
Muhammad, thank you.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry. I just wanted to jump in because the mayor does have to get ready to run.
Okay.
But Mayor, if you get a chance, try to swing by there. And Brother Muhammad, we're going to come back and talk about the programs and a lot of the commonality that you and Brother Daniel have just in the space of being dads. And so, Brother Daniel, which one do you prefer? I got people in the background saying Term. We had a DM about spelling your name right. What do you prefer, sir? Good morning.
First of all, good morning, everybody. How you doing, Muhammad? How you doing, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Daniel's fine. Term is fine. Whatever you choose.
Tell us a little bit about the Good Dad Gang, and then the mayor, we're going to let you respond, and then we'll talk with the brothers.
Great. So the Good Dad Gang is a movement that I started in 2014, and the movement was basically to empower fathers. I was trying to motivate them to be in their children's life. And a lot of us growing up in Lawrence, Massachusetts, one of the poorest cities in Massachusetts, a lot of us grew up without our dad or with a bad relationship with our dad. So what I was trying to do was motivate a lot of people around me to be in their kids' life and, just really give that extra effort and try their hardest, even if, for whatever reason, you were denied access to your child. Even if you started out as a bad dad, you can also keep trying and be better as time goes along. And, what started out as a hashtag on Instagram turned into a nonprofit organization. We've done 10 backpack giveaways over the last 10 years, funded by just me, myself, and my friends, grassroots organization, just GoFundMe, people giving me $50 here, $100 here. There was no real funding. And we've been able to do 10,000 backpacks over the last 10 years. And yeah, man, so it's grown to like a worldwide phenomenon. A lot of people love the movement. I get DMs every day, people thanking me, people asking me questions about, hey, you know, I'm going to court for my child. What should I expect? You know, things of that nature. So, you know, we've been able to really help people. Quick plug. I wrote a book called 100 Ways to Be a Better Dad last year, and it's been circulating, you know, all around different places, and people have been telling me how much it's helped them. You know, from women telling me, hey, this really helped me understand my husband. And then also men saying, oh, wow, I really didn't even realize how much, you know, how much I needed that book. So
Brother Term, thank you. And I can tell you know the business because you saw me lean in and then you wrapped up. We got the mayor to really give some feedback, because we talked about violence, we talked about sports and other things. And I think, Mayor, what is your response to what these brothers are doing and the need for fathers and fatherhood?
I want to thank you both so much. I'm just incredibly inspired, and now, you know, as a new mom for the third time, getting that extra look of, like, you know, watching my husband Connor become a new dad for the third time from scratch again. It's just like awakening so many memories. You know, I grew up in an immigrant family where the stereotypes were sort of like culturally, you know, dad doesn't ever show weakness, right? Dad doesn't, you know, is the ultimate sort of protector and has to be that like strength and doesn't get to talk to anyone about his feelings or this or that. And I think sometimes in society we put men and fathers in that box, and as the sort of, you know, moms are always often there to be the first hug, right? When the little one falls down and gets a boo-boo or this or that, or baby needs to eat and dad can't do anything about it at this stage when they're so young and only mom can help. And then when baby and mom need help, dad has to take care of everyone, right? Like dad has to be there and catch everyone. And when I was in DC testifying, it was only possible because my husband was finding a way with the new baby to do it, and now has just been our rock. So thank you for everything. Thank you to all the dads, all the father figures out there. It feels like it can be such an incredibly complex role to navigate, of how to be our protectors, our strength in a world that is increasingly hard and increasingly like personally difficult for so many. And so I want to thank you both for providing that space for fathers and for dads to have each other, and for everyone to kind of just get out of the boxes that we get put in, whether through our own upbringing or through, you know, different assumptions or this or that, to be who you are as a person, to be the very best dad that you can be by just being yourself. And that means the world. And I think I'll see you, Mr. Muhammad, because I've run into Miss Muhammad like 10 times and she keeps reminding me also about the event. So thank you.
You too, huh?
Mayor, we'll talk more about it. And Mayor, I need to get ready because I just there's some breaking news that just happened. The wonderful U.S. attorney just responded to your statements, and so about the ICE activity here. And so we won't go into that outside of the fact that fathers that are doing what they're supposed to do need to be able to stay here by governmental rights and the laws that they have. But I'm not going to go there. But Mayor, thank you so much for just, you know, listening to what the brothers are doing. And I'm sure you'll see the Muhammads on Saturday, and Brother Daniel in term is coming to do his session next week as well. And so, Mayor, I'm a little bit over time. I don't want to get in trouble. So thank you so much. Give Mira and the rest of the children and Connor my best, and tell Connor Happy Father's Day. And we'll talk to you soon. But go ahead and do what you got to do with this.
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, gentlemen, it is an honor to have both of you here, and it's also just great to hear. You know, the mayor took her hat off and was a mom. You know what I mean? Right. And talked about the importance of fathers. And so, Daniel, this time I'll start with you. You talked about Good Dad Gang starting from a hashtag,
Right.
like. It is amazing to just see a movement like that. How would you describe the impact that Good Dad Gang is having on fathers in one word? And then you can give me some context.
Ooh. Powerful.
Okay. Okay. And give me some context. And Pops, I'm going to ask you the same thing about Daddy and Me, because you see the impact, as well as Daniel. So Daniel, why do you say powerful?
Well, not to get too sad, right? But there's a lot of us struggling to see our kids. So if you see the type of messages and DMs I get, hey, I've been trying to see my kid. I can't see my kid. I've been going to court. Been going to court for weeks, for months, for years. I can only see my kid maybe once a week, or, only on Tuesdays for 2 hours and every other Saturday. That's not being a parent. And a lot of us are not given the right to be a parent. That right is stripped from us for certain reasons. So just to, on the deeper side, I'm like really helping a lot of people who don't have nobody to talk to, and just giving them some hope that everything's going to be okay. And, I'm not an attorney. I can't give them legal advice, but I try to give them all the advice I can give them from my experience and from what I've heard from other fathers. And, I always give people the same advice. Don't give up, just try to stay on course, keep fighting for your child. It'll be worth it in the end, if that's what you're going through. And so the other dads that have it more easier, that, they live with their child, they're not a weekend dad, they don't have to fight to see their kid. Don't take it for granted,
Oh, that we could go there. Brother Muhammad, do you just mind if I call you Pops? It's just a respect thing, and I've known your sons, and I'm just
no problem.
Okay. So it's so interesting because you talked about the book you wrote, and I don't know, Pops, if this would be a book that dads would read to their kids, maybe to their spouse or to themselves or whatever. But I think it's just so amazing to learn, that you have this book, Pops, the Daddy and Me literacy program. It's about reading to your children. And so I'll back up a little bit, because I just realized that correlation between what Good Dad Gang is doing with him writing the book, and then, the focus of Daddy and Me. Pops, from your perspective, with what Daddy and Me has been doing for the past few years, could you give me one word about your observation of the impact of literacy and fatherhood? What's one word that you would use to describe? All right, Brother Term, with the branded. Okay.
I would on that. That's, and listening to Dan talk is about mentorship, because one of the things that what happened with the Daddy and Me literacy program was the idea. The mission was to get fathers more engaged with their children, with their sons, and trying to get them to enjoy literacy and reading. And what happened was that in doing that, the men folk began to bond. They began to relate with each other. And so now they were getting, not only were they working with their children, they were working with their peers. So there was a benefit from this. And so we're saying this mentorship, when you think about the people who were amazing and influential in your life, like me, it was my grandma. My grandma, yeah. Well, hey, how can you imagine someone telling you to pick out a switch that you're going to get whipped with? Can you imagine the psychological effect that has on you? People don't think of those things.
Today you call that trauma.
Oh man, trauma. PS, whatever you want to call it. It stays with you, but it worked. It worked. I could have went a lot of different ways, but it worked. And so I would say mentorship, the ability of us to begin to interact with each other and understand the power that exists in all of us. And when we come together as a collective, doing what's good, look out, world. It's like we're going to change things. But we have to first understand ourselves and the environment that we're in, that we have to deal with. We are in charge. We have the power. We were gifted with being able to see, being able to hear, to smell, to touch. We were all born with these things, balance. All this stuff is in us. The things that we don't even know about, electricity and gravity. We didn't know about these things, but we need these things to exist.
Yes, sir. Yes, I wanted to the point of what you said, Pops, and Term, Daniel, Brother D, the mentoring piece, and he talked about the bonding that's happening with the fathers. It makes me think, and I don't know if you heard of Yard Time, Brother Two, or Brother Joey Bennett, that's doing great stuff. I want to connect you all with him, but with what you're doing with Good Dad, are you seeing sort of you're mentoring because you said you get the DMs about what folks are going through. Are you seeing peer mentoring going on through Good Dad Gang, similar to what Pops mentioned?
Absolutely, and it really hit me when he said it. As soon as he broke down what he was saying, okay, we're supposed to be reading to our sons and to our kids, but actually now the fathers are getting involved and starting to click with each other, and it's kind of been like that with Good Dad Gang too. I mean, when we do the backpack giveaways, people are dying to come volunteer now. They want to come every single year. I mean, we have so many people that want to come do good. And I'm going to keep it all the way real with you. A lot of these guys were not always doing good.
Sorry, go ahead.
A lot of these guys were not always doing good, but a lot of them changed their life and they want to do good now. And that's okay. That's okay. That's welcomed. And we love to see that that's where they're at.
Pops, what is your response there? Because I again, I'll frame it as our senior statesperson. In the room, I'm going to get in trouble. But no. Can I ask you to see? Because I think it presumably seeing what Daniel is doing is that, and seeing what your son started, and then what Wadi and the girls are carrying on. Are you inspired by anything that Daniel is saying and doing?
Yes, sir. I thank Daniel. I thank him for the effort and the courage that he had to do what he's doing. I mean, that was something that came from the inside. All right. I mean, something he saw that it needed to be done, and he did it. I mean, a lot of people talk, but very few people do. And that's, I love the people who do. I encourage the people who do. I want to side and partner with the people who do.
Indeed.
And I think that is, and then there's definitely going to be, I don't know if you're around, because I know you're all over the place, Brother Daniel, but they have an event coming up Saturday, the Daddy and Me Literacy Fun Day. And
I don't know if you can see this.
There we go.
We got you. Hold on, Pop. We got you better. Let me show that I can do a little something.
That's it.
That's beautiful.
So that's coming up on Saturday. And then Daniel, I want to let folks know that Brother Daniel is coming back, and we're going to actually have a deeper conversation next Wednesday at 12 p.m. just about the work, even maybe some of the challenges that dads are dealing with, because I am aware, even before being on the Black Men and Boys Commission, one of the hardest things that I have to do is usually tell single dads and brothers there's not a lot of resources for housing. There's not a lot of just of late is being bought to. Daniel, why do you say woo?
Yeah, we're gonna have to save that for next week, brother, because listen, man, as a kid who grew up with my mom, in the projects on welfare, that wasn't really around. As much as we had it rough, my mom had a lot of resources accessible to her, as far as WIC and food stamps and things of that nature. And I ain't gonna lie, it's way harder for single dads or dads in general to get, housing or to get help from, from government or however you want to place it. It's way harder for dads to get any help. And not taking nothing away from the single moms, because they have it the hardest. Like, my mom is my superhero, right? And she did the best job she could do. That being said, man, it's really hard, and we need to work on figuring out a little bit more, ways we can help fathers and really help them.
I want to add to Dan what he just said is that I know when Daddy and Me, originally I was hesitant to coming on the show. It's listen, you all run this. I mean, our reality as a community is the women folk raise the children. But my daughter schooled me that it don't take, in order to produce the children, you need a male and a female, the opposite, to come together to produce them. So to be able to raise them, the mentorship, it's important. It's teamwork. How do we develop a team? I'm a sports player. I played football. I played in high school. I went to Syracuse. The Syracuse 8, if you want a chance. Check that out. It was we had an opportunity to go to the next level, but it was passing it forward meant doing something that was better for those that came behind us than to taking care of ourselves right now. And our children is our future. They are our hope. So we obligated, because when you know better, you are obligated to do better. So when you know that your children are your offspring, and they're your responsibility, then we as a group, as a team, how do we get better? Dan, Big D, how do we get better to do what we're supposed to do?
Man,
Because if we do it right, it's going to be right.
I love your energy, Pops. Love your energy.
Wait a minute.
You see that, Java? You did that.
Brother Muhammad, pardon me.
You got 2 adopted sons here, man. So what's up, brother Wadi? We're adding to the family. But I know I just really think, it's so important. The other thing I want to name here, Pops, is we have 3 men of color who all have known, to Brother Daniel's point, and I think it's real, that may have, we're around folks. Maybe we haven't always made the best decisions, but we are on screen in real time affirming one another. We're not fighting one another. We're not challenging one another in a bad way. I think we're challenging one another to be better and to be more impactful doers. But I just wanted to name that as well, because we got mentoring going on in a sense right here, from Daniel to Pops, and then y'all to me, and then but Pops, you look like you wanted to say something.
You made me lose my point, but yeah.
Oh, I'm known to do that.
I was listening to what you were saying. No, I mean, yes, we're ready here, but it's important for us to bond. As we begin to bond, as we can begin to know each other. None of us are perfect. Right. We all got issues. But listen, the issues are not as big as what we're trying to accomplish. We're here for a reason. Figure out the reason and move forward.
Can you say that again?
Oh, you want me to remind?
Pops,
there's the reason why they call me Pops.
Oh my God. This is going a whole different way. Good than what I expected. But Pops, say what you said, that the issues,
they're much bigger than our little petty little differences or whatever we have between us. I mean, it's bigger than us. I mean, you understand the universe. I mean, the earth. I mean, in order to grow something, in agriculture, you got to have light. You got to have sunlight. You got to have water. You got to have air. You got to have soil. Now, that's the infrastructure. I ain't got nothing to do with it. I ain't got nothing to do with it. Now, you want a new child, new baby, you need a male, you need a female.
Talk about
have a new baby. Now the baby's got to be educated. All right, it's got to be shown the way. You got to know the way to show the way. All right. I mean, I'm not gonna walk off a cliff, and the baby follow me off the cliff. That don't make sense. I mean,
you got too many bars, man. Too many posts.
No, but Daniel, it's we've joked and we give homage to Pops here, but he has a perspective that knows maybe how some things were at one point. Daniel, you can speak to things a little bit past that, and now, and I'm just going to ask this one thing, and we'll get ready to wrap up. I want to ask you both, and you kind of touched on it each, but accountability. I've often had to refrain from, brothers, y'all need to take some sexual responsibility. If you're not ready to raise these children, understanding, Daniel, everything you said, that they were ready and they wanted to, and things happen with, the child's mother. That's real. Right. But can you talk a little bit, Daniel, about accountability? And it could be getting on the right track. It don't have to be what you did. Like accountability in the form of being a good dad.
Listen, my brothers, accountability is my favorite word, and it gets me in a lot of trouble. It gets me in a lot of trouble with everybody that I love and everybody I want to help. And it comes from my soul and my heart. I just want people to be better. I just want people to look in the mirror and see that they can be great, And in the book, I have like a mantra that I keep coming back to, and it just says, don't give up. Make sure you always show up. Don't give up. And it's like, things can go wrong and you can make every excuse in the world. But if you give up on that child, you gave up. Even if the world is stacked against you, it could be your kid's mom. It could be, she moved far away. You got to drive an hour to pick the kid up. The judge is only giving you a day a week. Your finances are rough. You're going through, anything that you're going through don't matter. You have to hold yourself accountable that you're the child's dad, and you need to make it happen. You need to go make it happen and be the best dad you can be for the child. not only for yourself too, yeah, for yourself, but for the child, because you're responsible for that child that you brought into this world. Even if they're treating you like you're not really a parent, even if you're a parent 6 or 8 hours a week, because that's what the court gave you, you're still that kid's father.
And Daniel, we're going to get more into that next week as well, because that is a reality for a lot of dads, right, wrong, indifferent, with people's opinions about past or whatever. When a man makes a decision to step up, we got to do better at having, one, resources in place to support them, but two, well, I'm not going to get in trouble, but Pops, Pops, your thoughts on accountability, your own, or if you wanted to in there mesh something, response to what Daniel said, but accountability from your perspective, sir.
I would say now let me go back to sports, and sometimes I have to be careful because I talk football because I'm an athlete, but football to me is like similar to life, and you got to be responsible, you got to be accountable. All right, you got to do calisthenics. You got to get your body, your physically self in shape. You got to get yourself mentally ready and prepared. And like the game is like every week, whether you like it or not, regardless of the weather. All right, you got to deal with it. You got to deal with it. All right.
Did you
so when you talk about accountability, responsibility, I mean, you got to deal with it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like I used to come home and it's like, that's all we're going to eat. Hey, this is what we got to eat. You're gonna eat what we got to eat. I mean, and that's what it is. I mean, so you have to be able to provide. You have to be responsible. My role, I was a fullback. I was a running back at Syracuse. When it was 3rd and 1, give me the ball. That's my job. As the coach said, just do your job. That's my job. 3rd and 1, give me the ball. Now, if it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, give it to Greg or give it to Joe. Give it to someone else. But 3rd and 1, give me it. I'll get it. Everybody knew who was getting the ball. Everybody. The opposing team, my team, all the fans. All right, now it was on me. What am I going to do? I got to get 1 yard. That was my job. So, I mean, I took on that weight. I carried that weight. But when you talk about responsibility, yes, sometimes it's going to look like it's an endless all uphill. But that don't stop you. That don't stop you. I mean, there are people that experience all this stuff. That's why it's good to get into people. I mean, a lot of this stuff today is to get you away from people. But people, just like I say to my children, my grandchildren, that if you can speak several languages, money comes in people's pocket. So if you want to do business with people, you got to be able to communicate with people. So you got to be able to talk with them. You got to be able to relate with them. You got to be human with them. All right. So Daniel, when you talk about being a mentor in power and dealing with your children, you got to be able to relate. I'm trying to figure out what is it that the addictive force that video games have on the young people. And they don't have no patience with me. I said, teach me how to use it. And they got like 12 different buttons on one little machine. I can't figure it out.
Me either. I need Pac-Man.
Oh no, yeah, that's way old school. Old school. Pac-Man and Mario, those are old school.
Pops, are you getting me back? You calling me out?
You seem like you back in the day. You were the nostalgic type.
Y'all ain't right. But no, I just want to name, and I also love the fact that we've had moments of joy here, because a lot of things that were named, they fight our joy. You know what I mean? And with so much that's going on, in the world, we both are various places on the diaspora are being attacked. And so that's also very real. And Daniel, we can talk more about this next week, but the impact of everything else that goes on, it does contribute to a lot of the decisions and the things that the dads have to make, from the economy to courts so we're going to get more into that next week. Pops, I know Sahira was going to come in, but she probably decided not to, or if she's there,
no, she's sitting on the side right here.
I thought she was I told you my dad gonna give you some good content now.
Yo, he did. Listen,
I said, so let me really quickly and listen. So let me just say, for Daddy and Me literacy program, I always say, and like I told you on the phone the other day, like, I'm not a dad, I'm not a male of color, I cannot represent for you guys, but I will make sure that the Daddy and Me literacy program continues and that we do the work that we're doing and we have the impact in the community and on dads and families, and to continue my brother's legacy. And so, you know, historically, early education the engagement has been focused around mothers. And so our goal is to bring fathers in, to engage fathers in that early education, the early literacy. We want to also be representation is important to us. So we're choosing books that the characters look like our Black and brown babies. We're supporting local authors of color. We're highlighting their stories. We've had them come on and do sessions and read books with us. And so those are the things that are important to us. And then also building home libraries. So every session that you register for, we're making sure that you get a copy of that book. You would mail, you know, since COVID, we went virtual. So we've been like mailing books to families. So come out. Saturday is our 4th annual Family Fun Day event. It's 11 to 3. It's a good time. We're focused on not just the fun and games, but we have a literacy tent where we're going to be giving away books. We have story times. We have an author, Marlon Carey, who's going to be highlighting and reading his book. We have a STEM tent that Pops is hosting. Come do some science activities, as well as arts and craft. But then we have a game truck, field games, local performers. Brother Daniel, I'd love to have you come out and table with us. I mean, the registration is closed, but hit me up. We come share your information, share your book with our families. But it's a day full of fun. It's a day to highlight what the work that Daddy and Me is doing and has been doing, continuing Marzouk's legacy. We have over 40 vendors and organizations that's going to resource, because it's also a community resource fair. So it's just a great time for folks to come out and enjoy and support the work that Daddy and Me is doing. So I'm gonna slide on out.
Okay, no, you're good because I know you were going to jump in.
And she didn't say mathematics is part of the STEM team. Mathematics, yeah.
Now, mathematics, the concept, or mathematics, the artist?
No, mathematics, the concept, the art of applying
math.
mathematics and everything that we do in life.
It's just, I know that the impact of what we did here today is going to move, and the ripple impact is going to be far beyond this hour or half an hour that we did on the screen. It happened in a virtual space, but I think that the byproduct and outcome of bringing attention to what both of you all are doing, you both are now even more so on the mayor's radar. And so I'm sure I'm going to be like, hey, Jimmy, can you connect me with that one? And what's up with this one? The amplification of this type of work is needed, because I think both of you, all three of you rather, would agree with the fact that there's some things coming that are going to continue to fight our family structure, our families, our young people, our dads. And the more that we can store up good stuff, folks can read the book, Daniel, and when dads are really dealing with life, something in that book can make them sit back and be like, nope, I'm not going to crash out. I'm not going to, Pops, what you talked about, responsibilities. Sahira, I even think at some point it would be worth having a real conversation about how moms deal with dads. And I don't know what your, experience is, but that needs to happen, because I've often seen in real life as a counselor, a little bit in the family, where sometimes children have been weaponized against the dads. And so I'm not going to go too deep, but
I agree. And I will just say this, moms, we do need to let our dads engage, because let me say this, research has shown that when fathers are involved in early education and literacy, that the children have much better academic success, overall self-confidence. So the research has shown that having fathers involved and engaged in early on in the education and literacy of their children and their child's educational journey, that the outcomes speak for themselves. So that's the important piece too, that yes, I know that a lot of times that's not the situation where a lot of single moms are here, but even for Daddy and Me, that's when we send out our things. It's like, hey, dads, uncles, father figures, godfathers, mentors, whoever you are, but those grandfathers. But it's so important that engagement is so important in the overall development of those children, and we have to be mindful of that, and we have to not just be mindful, but be intentional about how we're engaging them in our children's lives.
I thank you, and everybody is blowing me up. I just want to we got the book link. Miss Teresa put it in, but I want to put it in here too, while we also got the link I'm like producing, engineering, and everything over here. The link for the registration for Saturday is in the comments on Java with Jimmy, James W. Hills, folks. I'm sorry, Twitter and all them. I'll post it later. And then I want to also post the link for the book. And Sahira, I'm not going to move away from what you just said there. It's just that 80 things are going on here, and if I don't do it,
I got you.
it's not going to get done. But as I said, I really believe that there's going to be more coming out of this. I put the link to Daniel's book, I believe, directly to Amazon here, and then there's also the link to the registration for the event on Saturday. But this can't be a one and done.
What are you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying?
That Pops, you got to come back on a few levels. And brother Daniel is already got his date. We already got Daddy and Me. I want to shout out LaKenya Rivers from Family Movement, because we were going to try to get her to come, because I'll just say this: when Daddy and Me comes back, Daniel, they're not only working on things that are non-tangible. I mean, the books, you send them out, but they're working on having a space where dads are welcome to come and sit and read with their children.
I love that. That's incredible.
And so they're going to be coming back as well. And so we are a little bit over time, but I don't mind it at all, Pops. Yo,
can I just do this little quick
2-second plug? Please.
So also, just in going and talking about my brother Marzouk, who founded Daddy and Me, his legacy, he was a commercial real estate developer. So my other brother founded MTK Development in honor of Marzouk. And so we're working on a building called Marzouk Plaza in Dorchester. Well, what used to be Roxbury, if you grew up in Roxbury. Let me just throw that out there. But so, and we'll be back next month with Jimmy. So we'll be talking more about that. So stay tuned. Follow MTK Development on Instagram. Follow Daddy and Me on Instagram. Come out Saturday, have a great time. So
absolutely. And I'm usually good with having you guys ats and whatnot, but this I don't have no more energy. This conversation wore me out. It's always an indicator for me when I leave a conversation tired. That means that the exchange has been in a soul place. And I will tell you all, for both of you and people that are listening that may, at 53, I'm still dealing with the lack of a dad. And so you fathers, but what did Edo used to say? Be a father to your child.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for dad, for men right now, and this is a whole nother convo, even at 53, you still got to deal with the fact of what transpired that you need to address. So the lack of a dad doesn't, transcend in the other areas. And I just got on this road within like the last year. And so Pops, at some point, I'm going to reach out to set up a one-on-one just to chat with you, because I think that there's a perspective and some just pouring into that you have. But this was amazing. The comments are, I'm not even going to go into all of them. Folks are really in here. They want the book. They're coming out Saturday. And I really appreciate both of you spending your time with us this morning, because we have to change the narrative in a lot of spaces where people, some valid concerns, as Pops and you, Daniel, said, we haven't always been perfect as human beings, just not as dads. But when people make the decision to want to step in and do what needs to be done, they need all the support morally, physically, tangibly, like housing and counseling. And all right, y'all going to get me on a whole tangent. So.
Get off the soapbox, please.
Yo, Wadi. Wadi, your father is he's lit. He is I appreciate you, man. I really do. I want to allow you both to give closing statements. And Sahara, why don't we start with you, and then we'll let the dads give a closing statement. Anything you want to say?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I've said my piece. I think it's just important to highlight the work that community organizations are doing in the city of Boston, but most importantly, the importance of dads and father figures in the development of our children. Because when we raise healthy adults, it impacts not just our families, but it impacts the community and society as a whole.
We haven't even named Pops and Dan. What you said about the impact of reading to your children, emotional intelligence is a byproduct. And then that child that's been read to knows how to express their emotions. They don't grow up being 16 with pinned up emotions trying to shoot somebody.
Right.
So
Right. There's a correlation in how in early literacy and the impact it has on our children's development and their outcomes, whether it be all of their outcomes. So I think it's so important in that, even that piece that you're going to connect to. That's a whole nother conversation about how violence prevention, how early literacy impacts violence prevention outcomes. It's a whole thing. So I won't keep you long. I will say that my dad is constantly dropping gems and don't realize it. And so what he said earlier, and you asked him to repeat, is that our issues are much smaller than the thing that we are trying to accomplish. And so I think that sometimes I pay attention.
Sometimes.
Pops, don't do her.
And that's what I'll leave you guys with. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Daniel, your closing statement, sir?
First of all, I'd like to thank you guys. I learned a lot today. I feel very inspired off of everything that everybody said in here today. I'm learning about new stuff, and I just feel, new programs and new opportunities, new perspective. I feel very, very motivated, and I can't wait to apply some of this information into the next things that I do. I'm constantly working every day. I don't have a 9-to-5. I own 3 businesses, and all I do is work on Good Dad Gang, work on my record label, work on the nonprofit, and that's all I do. And I do it tirelessly from when I wake up to 3, 4, 5 in the morning because I can't sleep. I'm a creative. My brain is going. And that's just how I'm operated. That's how I'm wired, and that's how I operate. But anyway, I would like to thank you guys. Thank you for plugging the book. Once again, I'll show you what it looks like. 100 Ways to Be a Better Dad. Okay, check that out on Amazon. Also, the website is gooddadgang.com. We have our 11th annual backpack giveaway coming up in Lawrence, Mass. at the Boys and Girls Club, August 17th from 12 to 4 p.m. And we'll talk about that more next week.
And have a flyer ready for me too, because I'll be glad to promote it.
Yeah, I will. And I just want to piggyback off one thing that the sister kept saying about, reading to the children early and how it impacts them and gives them the confidence and teaches them how to, express themselves and things like that. And how, the percentage that she had thrown out there. And that means a lot to me because I didn't realize that, right? A lot of times we're operating in different spaces. So me learning that just kind of motivated me a lot, right? And helped me a lot. And to piggyback off that, I have a family member that worked in the courthouse for 30 years. And one time she told me, I really love what you're doing with Good Dad Gang. And I said, thank you. And she's like, you want to know why? I said, why? She said, because the common denominator that I hear every day in my courthouse is that when we say, is the mother present? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Is the father present? 90% of the time, the father's not present. And what does that tell you? There's no father in the household, and these children are doing crime because of it. So that's something that we got to look at too. And that's the reason why we got to try to keep strong families together and build families and keep the father in the household, or at least co-parent good. And we can get into that more next week, but that's all I got to say. I love you guys. Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you to my brother, Bedlam, Brandon Matthews. Without Brandon, we wouldn't have connected. So thank you to him. GoodDadGang.com. Follow us on Instagram at GoodDadGang.
Yo, you definitely know he's in the marketing and the business, but know everything that you said. But we need that. We need people that can take their professional skill set. Yo, you're a social entrepreneur, bro. Yo, I got a little bit of label on today.
I got on my daddy me.
She got the right idea.
But Pops, you have the responsibility of closing us out with everything. You got to do that. You got to do.
It's gonna be hard. Let me first say this. I want to thank the creator and thank all of you all for coming together as a team. And it's something you said is very important about being responsible and being on a team, whether we're blood tie or not blood tie. If we're on a team to make things better, when you know better, you are obligated to do better. So with us interacting with each other and talking about these things and sharing with one another, I mean, we're learning, we're picking up stuff that we can use, right? So to do good. Now, before we get back together, I want you to check out Syracuse 8.
We have an assignment.
number8.com. That's a website. And that's a book that talks about level of the playing field. And you talk about teamwork. There are things that happened 50 years ago, and I'm just finding out now through research. Someone who's on our team was educating and researching, finding out that decisions and things that people did 50 years ago impacted our lives today. So what we do today is going to be important for tomorrow. All right. So I'll end on that note. So when you know better, then you're obligated to do better.
I'm not even going to, I thank both of you for being here. It's been encouraging. It's been inspiring. It's even in, approaching Father's Day and some stuff that I shared with you all. It's given a different perspective just from my own stuff. So I really appreciate all three of you being here and with the mayor as well. But this isn't one and done. I'll be out Saturday. Daniel, we're going to be in contact. You're coming back next Wednesday at 12 noon for a midday Java to have kind of a deeper conversation about some of the things that he raised. And Pops and Sahira, you and Wadi and Lakenya, you all know, just we work out the dates and the logistics like we did yesterday. But we'll make it happen. So I appreciate all three of you all being here, and we'll be in touch. And I'll make sure that you two get connected.
Yes, please do. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you all.
Thank you. God bless.
All right, bless.
God bless.
Take care. See you Saturday. All right. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Bye-bye.
I hope you all enjoyed today's session with both Good Dad Gang and Daddy and me. Listen, I'm stuttering, so you already know what that means, and I'm tired. And both Pops and Daniel, we need this. We need this. You all, and it just affirms some other things I've been talking with some other brothers about. So, Wadi, we about to steal Pops from you. Cause I knew it when I met him at the health fair, but to hear him today and Miss Teresa I love Miss Teresa. Oh, I forgot to share your note with them. Miss Teresa, I'll make sure you get their logo. Syracuse8.com is what Pops was referring to. So please check that out. Daniel and I have an assignment. There's no drop dead date because I don't know when the two of them are going to come back together. So, but we did get an assignment. And so please check that out to learn more about Pops at his days at Syracuse. And also don't forget Daddy and Me for more information to find out about them. You can also go to daddyandmeboston.com and also to learn about the development piece that they're coming back to talk about. You can check out MTK Development as well. And then the address for Saturday is 1015 Truman Parkman Highway. So you can go come and attend. I'll be speaking similar to what we discussed today, covering some things as it relates to the importance of fathers and how it's a violence prevention model. So, I'm pooped. Today was amazing. Thank you, gentlemen. Much needed advice and visual of Black and brown men supporting and loving on it. Miss Teresa, that part right there, it helped me. Yes, I will eat and drink, Miss Teresa. Tashad, good to see you in the building. Good to see you in the building. All right, folks, everybody that's over on Instagram, I'm sorry. DJ Q, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Appreciate the love for the convo. Janine, good morning to you. Daniel, what's up, brother? DL from Black Dollar and just DL the artist. Sandra Boston, 1964. Fathead 468. Good to see all of you all over on Instagram. Hopefully, folks walked away with some encouragement today. Dante Moon was over. Clifton. And we got everybody calling, unless she's really his daughter. We got everybody in the cafe calling Pops. Imagine him being out on the street and people walk up and be like, "Hey, are you Pops? I saw you on Java with Jimmy. Hi, Pops." That is we don't see as much of that spirit these days as we used to. You know what I mean? That is just a natural regard and respect that he demands. So gives me some inspiration. A charter member and longtime Java Cafe supporter who we don't see. She be busy Daddy and Me is an awesome program. I love what they do. Good to see you, Shamika, in the building. Mika, rather. Good to see you in the building. Sister Soraya, I see you're getting all straight with your sneakers and things like that. Mother Davis, good morning to you. All right, I'm getting into names and saying hi, then I'm going to get in trouble. Daniel, thank you for being here. Hurtado, who was over on Instagram as well. We will see you guys. Tomorrow's Thursday. We will see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. We're back tomorrow for Thankful Thursdays at 10 a.m. So come back tomorrow and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. And don't forget Saturday at 11 a.m. at Martini Park. Don't also forget August. What did he say? August. Daniel said August 16th. He's doing his event in Lawrence as well. Please try to support those events in any way you can. And also, Daniel will be back with us next Wednesday at 12 p.m. So next Wednesday, let me tell y'all now, we have 3 shows. Waterfront Wednesday at 10 a.m. Daniel at 12 p.m. And then following Daniel, I think is so apropos, next Wednesday at 8 p.m., the artist, the father, the advocate, mathematics is coming into the Java Cafe next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. for Java After Dark. I'm sure this subject of fatherhood is going to come up. So next Wednesday is 3 shows, y'all. 10 a.m., 12 noon, 8 p.m. All right. Outside of that, we'll see you tomorrow. I'll probably go live from Martini Park on Saturday. Also, please keep August 16th open. I will be at the Museum of Science again on August 16th. So we'll keep you up to date about that, as well as the January 28th event. And I'm out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m.